Welcome back to Capitol Tonight, a statewide look at politics. I'm Tim Boyum. It is Thursday when we talk with the lawmakers, the folks who create the policies that shape our society and politics. Tonight, we're joined by two returning members of the State House, Representative Duane Hall, a Democrat of Wake County, and in our Charlotte newsroom, Jason Saine, a Republican of Lincoln County. Thank you for both of us joining us. Good to see you. The week before session starts, at least for one day at this point. And the legislature making some news here midweek. Representative Paul Tyne from the Outer Banks announcing he's switching parties from Democrat to unaffiliated. Representative Hall, I guess we should start with you since you're a Democrat. I mean, were you surprised by this, and what do you make of it all?
Not greatly surprised. Paul is a friend. We came in together. We have sat literally 3 feet apart from each other for the last 2 years in session. Talked to Paul 2 weeks ago and again last night after the decision. Would have to say I'm disappointed to lose him. He's a very intelligent, thoughtful, considerate legislator and effective. He worked with the Democrats on many things. He worked with us on education, preserving Common Core, lots of economic development for the rural areas. I feel like he worked with us more than the other side, so I'm afraid he's going to have as much or more frustration if he's allowed to caucus with the Republicans. I don't know yet. I think Jason may know a little more about that than I do. I would have to add one thing. I am a bit disappointed that he chose to do it after his constituents reelected him as a Democrat. But I wish him the best. I'm looking forward to working with him wherever we can.
Is there a feeling, because Representative Hall said the same thing, is there a feeling that he stayed with it to get elected and then switched? I mean, is there that concern, I guess?
No, I don't feel that way. I mean, this is something, he's in a very conservative district. It's slightly more Republican than Democrat, and his own beliefs are there. I mean, Paul's very moderate. He's in the middle. I don't think that at all.
Representative Saine, I guess we'll find out. I think tomorrow the caucus is voting on this, but I'm assuming they're going to let him into the caucus. What do you make of it? I'm sure you're the more the merrier.
Well, look, we're very glad to have Paul join us. Representative Tyne, just what Representative Hall just said. He's a very reasonable legislator. I would describe him as a moderate. He's someone who's worked across the aisle with us. We're used to working with Duane, with Representative Tyne. And look, it's what he felt was best for his district, and I think that's pretty smart, and I applaud him for doing that. I don't think much changes as far as his how he'll vote or how he'll behave himself in the House. He's certainly someone that gets elected by his district in a pretty sizable fashion. He's well liked from folks that I know there. We vacation in this district. So I don't think this was quite a shock. Maybe the timing might be a little shocking to some, but I think Representative Tyne's just making the best decision for himself and for his district. So I applaud him for that, and don't hold that against any legislator.
Is this an indication of how hard it is to be a moderate in this day and age with the way that politics is? I mean, is that another indication that it's hard to find a place when you are moderate?
I think that's true. I think you see what happens on the national level, play out and a lot of times here in North Carolina, and for folks who are in the middle, it's sometimes you have to pick a jersey, and that puts some people sometimes in an uncomfortable spot, and particularly when they look at, like I said, he represents his district very well, and that's where his district's at. So he it's a tough time for those type of districts and for those people who represent them.
In his statement, he mentioned, Representative Hall, he mentioned that he didn't feel at home with his policies with the Democratic Party. Do you think that moderates don't have a home in the Democratic Party?
No, they definitely do. We have quite a few moderates in our party and our caucus as well. I saw him being frustrated quite a few times in caucus, but on the other hand, I saw him quite a few times being with us 100% on things. No member is going to get 100% on what they want, even within their own caucus. I mean, he's a friend. I fear that he's going to have some of those same frustrations on the other side.
Well, we'll see how that plays out, no doubt about it. Representative Saine, incentives are back out in front. This Mercedes-Benz deal, I guess, brought attention again, but the governor was asking for it at the Economic Forecast Forum. This was part of the Mercedes deal. Where is the House in this issue? I know there's not a lot of fans in the House Republican side, but are these incentives necessary?
Look, I don't think anybody's a huge fan of incentives, but it's the other side of if we're not doing something, we're not even in the game. And we've seen this play out time and time again. Other states are in the incentives game. It's not. I don't think it's a position that anybody's very comfortable being in, but it's something that just as people who are reasonable and know what the economic climate is and know how tough it is to and competitive it is to recruit jobs to the state and retain jobs too, we've got to be in the incentives game on some level. So you'll see discussion within my caucus. You'll see discussion within Representative Hall's caucus as well. I think we'll find something that does keep our state very competitive. It won't be easy because there are some folks who have taken some pretty strong stances on that. But at the end of the day, I think it's best for us and best for our state that we do everything that we can to be competitive in not just a U.S. marketplace, but a global marketplace.
You're on Twitter quite a bit. The historic tax credits, they're putting on a full court press right now. Do you think those come back in some sort of way?
I think they do. I think that what we've seen across the state, particularly in our municipalities and our counties, the benefit to that, to those communities. I know I've seen it in my community, some of the projects that we've seen because of that credit. So that's kind of tough when you're philosophically it may be all or nothing, but when you're back home in your district and you see how that actually works, I think that's something that we'll get a second look this go round.
That's an interesting point that we hear about. What do you think about the incentives?
I can't believe we keep going down this road. Last time we were in the studio, it was the same topic. It was the end of the short session, the governor's big giveaway package, and it was voted down by Democrats, by Republicans, time after time, resurrected, brought back to the floor in a different form, voted down again. Jason's right. We need to do something, but before we decide to give North Carolina taxpayer dollars to out-of-state companies that may or may not even hire North Carolina people, that may or may not even stay after they get this money, I think we need to look at some real job economic incentives and jobs programs like other states have done that our economies are growing much faster than ours. Namely, I'd like to talk about infrastructure. Governor McCrory is said to be considering a $1 billion transportation bond for our roads for transportation, and it has strong bipartisan support. And that would be a real jobs program. That would create thousands of jobs, and for North Carolinians all across the state, not just in one particular area.
All right, real quick, Representative Saine, we saw the governor go up to the White House, talk about all these different waivers with Medicaid and how he could potentially make it happen. It sounds like to me that he's trying to find a way to do that, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like the legislature's on board with expanding Medicaid. What did you make of his trip?
Well, look, I applaud the governor for going. I think we need to continue to have the ongoing discussion. And this is not a very easy issue, as you know. It's very complicated. I think it's the right thing for Governor McCrory to make that trip, to have the dialogue, to have the conversation. And I don't think that you have unanimous support one way or the other in the legislature within one caucus or the other, or in either chamber. So it's something that as legislators we continue to reevaluate because it has moved so quickly. I think it's just incumbent upon us to make sure that we get it right for our state. And so I applaud the governor for going up there and having that conversation.
Representative Hall, I imagine you liked the trip.
I applaud him as well. I mean, talk about a jobs program. $52 billion going into North Carolina's economy to help North Carolina's hospitals that badly need it right now, to help doctors, nurses, medical suppliers, pharmacists. The list goes on and on of how many people could help. It's an estimated 30,000 new jobs. Instead, North Carolina's decided to do the exact opposite. Instead of doing this, we've chosen to give our tax dollars to other states who have opted in, and their economies are growing faster. For me, this is just a no-brainer.
All right, well, we'll see. You guys got a few days here before the craziness starts again. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Good to see both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. Good to see you, Representative Hall.
You too, Jason.